my name is Sandra Apia, and you're watching Face to Face with Miss Rita Kusi. Hi. Miss Kusi is the author of this wonderful book, Sankofa, Looking Back to Move Forward. It's the story of 4 Ghanaian young immigrant women who struggle to stay true to themselves, you know, their culture, heritage, and roots as they live the American dream, like we all do. Now that's very difficult. But I have here with me Miss Kusi, who's going to talk a little bit about this wonderful story. Miss Kusi, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, first and foremost, I'd like to, get to know you a little bit more. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Came here from Ghana, West Africa, migrated from Kumasi, and I've been here since 1991 with my family, and we just came pretty much in search of the American dream, mainly education. We came here for educational reasons, and I managed to get through middle school, high school, went through college, and I obtained my Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in marketing.
How did writing come about? Because usually people who want to write will study, literature or English, not business.
Yeah.
So when did you discover your passion for writing?
I started reading a lot of urban style literature. Those were the only kind of books that captured my attention, and since you read the book, I'm sure you kind of see a little bit of that style in there. So I always knew I had a story to tell, and growing up, I came in contact with a lot of different people. I lived in a lot of different places, so I just wanted to capture it on paper, but it didn't start out as Sankofa.
Tell me a little bit about the difference between growing up in Ghana as a kid and growing up in the United States or the Bronx, as a kid.
Even though I was only, 7, 8 years old, I remember a lot of it. I had my family around a lot of the times, my sisters, my cousins, we all kind of lived in the same neighborhood. So growing up, life was good. My dad had a very prestigious job, and we traveled a lot between Ivory Coast and Ghana. We were kind of sheltered, a little spoiled, so we pretty much came here, and it was more like a reality check. It wasn't what we thought it would, it was cracked up to be.
Really? What did you expect it to be?
I expected it, just to get off the plane, and everything was being in Willy Wonka land. Yeah, welcome to America, everything's great, money's falling off trees and all that. Gosh. I didn't think just making friends was gonna be as hard as it was. As a kid, that's your dream, that's your goal. You want to be popular in school, you want to have the best friends. And that wasn't as easy as we thought it was.
Why was that?
It was very hard. Kids are cruel, you kind of get made fun of because you do look a little different, you smell funny according to them, so you get called the whole African booty scratcher and all that great stuff. I
probably did no justice to it when I tried to summarize your book, so I'm going to ask you, the author, to summarize your book in one sentence.
It's like a Ghanaian Sex and the City, which it embodies the different types of females and also the males.
What is the story about?
You have 4 female characters in there, and they all kind of struggle with their identity, and it pretty much, I put some of the people that I know in these characters, because when you're growing up and you're tormented, you tend to kind of, from me, I kind of picked it up from some of my friends, where I noticed one of my homegirls actually gravitated towards a different race. So I just kind of put all these females that I knew who went through this this identity crisis.
Is this a biography?
No, it's not a biography, but I do put some of my experiences in there, and I also put a lot of the experiences that people I know have been through.
On that note, one of the things that I also loved about your book is the combination of reality and fiction. They just work together so well, and actually for me it was frustrating at times, because I was I want to know if this actually happened, but I could never tell.
Yeah.
Most of the time reading, I thought you were Kimberly, because I know you. So can you talk a little bit about that process, deciding to use this specific strategy and how it worked in your favor?
I'm definitely not Kimberly, but she has a lot of my qualities. I can identify with her. I'm sure you can identify with one of the characters. Maybe not 100%, but I think every female could kind of pick their qualities in each character. I have done some of those things that Kimberly has done, and so have some of my other friends, but a lot of it is also fictional, you know, so I don't want people to take it to the heart. If you do know me, like, you would know exactly what I have and have not done.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, I love so many things about your book.
Thank you.
When I picked it up to read,
you.
I finished reading it like in a day. That's how much
awesome.
I loved it.
That's
you know,
awesome.
because it's such a universal story.
Yeah.
You can all relate to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised a lot of people are calling you.
Yeah.
You know, asking if you base the characters on them and whatnot. So I just want to know from you, out of all the stories that you could have told as an author,
yeah,
why this specific one?
Why this story? When I first started writing, I actually had 2 different titles. I had Untouched Generations, and then I had Trials and Tribulations. Because after college, I traveled a lot, and I mean, it was just crazy. Like, some of the things, I was like, I have to write this down. And that's what I did. So it kind of started off as a love story gone wrong. But in 2007, after my trip back home, everything just kind of came together, and that's when it started taking a turn, and the name Sankofa just popped up, and I didn't think twice about it. You know, I know there's a Sankofa movie out there, but I didn't think twice about it. It just felt so right to give it that title. So
why did you decide to go back to Ghana?
Just, I needed to. You know, it was like a need thing.
What led up to that point where you had to go to Ghana?
During my travels, you know, I wanted to find my place in the world, thinking that would solve everything. Like, if I lived in Atlanta, I could make it big and yada yada yada. I realized that a lot of the issues wasn't me trying to find my place in the US. It was more like, you need to take this trip back home and just kind of find yourself. You know, like, I was losing focus. I was starting to have dreams about my grandmother, who I barely ever spoke to on the phone. You know, that trip to me was just necessary for me to become an adult.
Okay, on page 16 of your book,
yes,
you make a very powerful statement. You said, so you see, growing up, to our own, we weren't Ghanaian enough, and to the rest, we were too African.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think I made that comment because I was thinking back to, like, the Ghanaian picnic and when we would go to parties. Like, the Ghanaian kids thought, oh, they think they're too good because we would just speak English. And that's what I knew. You know, my dad was so strict and he didn't want us to get made fun of and have those thick accents. So even when I'm home now, I speak English with my parents. So to the Ghanaian kids, it's like, oh, you know, like, they think they're better. And then to the others, it's like, you're Ghanaian, you're African, like, you're always gonna be African, you're not better than us type of thing, you know. Why was it important for you to write this book? I wanted to shed light on a very important issue. I just feel like immigrants are overlooked a lot of times. Like, you know, we do talk about slavery, and I mean, that's like something that it happened, and it's big, you know, and like, I don't overlook it, you know, but at the same time, I definitely think that coming here, we also struggle with that, and I think it's an issue, you know, and I didn't realize it was going on until I got older. You know, you don't know what's going on because no one talks about it.